You make such an important point, because you know she carried a briefcase to her office in the East Wing, and that was something that had never been done before. And as she sat in cabinet meetings, but she was an integral part in a lot of the decision making. And I've, as the hearse is starting to pull out here at Georgia Southwestern State University, slowly as it'll make its way and take this turn here, that at the same time as she's working on fuel standard legislation, and she is being very integrally part of the decisions about regulations on air and water pollution, or establishing diplomatic relations with China, or the Camp David Accord. She was there during that negotiation. She's also a working mom. She had a 9-year-old daughter in the White House at that time, and there were so many things that really she quietly but very strongly blazed a trail in. Absolutely. And continued to do so after her time in the White House. Former President Carter has said many times that, you know, he felt like it wasn't a takeaway that they didn't have a second term, that he felt that they accomplished as much as they would have wanted to. And he said, now my wife doesn't always agree with me. She really wanted that second term. She loved politics. She said many times, I love politics. Not the back and forth about it, but the being in position to really make a change in people's lives. And that's the way she viewed politics, and maybe that's not the way a lot of people view it anymore, but for her it really is impactful just to see the hands on the hearse. People who walked beside her in life, in many seasons of life. Again, if you're just joining us, the men you see flanking the hearse there with former First Lady Rosalynn Carter are current and past Secret Service members who were by her side every moment of her life, and now by her side as she, you know, has transitioned on. Yeah.
It is just a sight to see, a very sombering moment for the entire community of Plains, the entire country, and really the world who is looking in, because her work has impacted globally. One of our very own who's down in Plains right now, Christy Diaz, was a part of the First Lady's mental health fellowship at the Carter Center. And she was able to put together a piece called Desperately Waiting. And this mental health fellowship from Mrs. Carter was so important for journalists, not just here in the States, but across the world, to bring them together and to give them, you know, resources and opportunity to report and give this important news about mental health. And as we look on here, we could see those members of the Carter family, close friends, as well as members of the community getting ready to see this motorcade leave. And Cheryl, you know, it's a sad day, but it's also a celebration of life. No doubt a celebration of life. 96 years, a life well lived, a life of service, as it's pulling out now here. And as you see on the left side of your screen here, just people lined up along the street. I know we'll see that from this position to the next position with the wreath laying ceremony that will happen. I think we'll see a lot of that, and happy that the weather is cooperating as people are lining this road as the procession here begins. But I think it's very true. I think 96 years of service next to the love of her life, who is 99 years old, who was with her until her final breath, and her family as well, children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren and extended family in her hometown of Plains, a community that very much is a family, a small community that feels very much like she and her husband are and will always be in the fabric of who they are as a community. And I love her nickname that she was given, because when you take a look at Mrs. Carter and her life and legacy, she's a soft-spoken woman. She was clever, she would make people laugh, but she was also very knowledgeable about what she talked about. When she went out to campaign for Mr. Carter, both during his governorship and then his bid for the White House, when you asked her a question about something, she would give you the facts. If she didn't know, she'd say, you know what, let me get back to you. She was very well versed. She was very, very smart. And her nickname, as we see the Secret Service detail and folks coming back in, the motorcade is now on its way.